Hypothesis and conclusion. Identifying a hypothesis and a conclusion is pretty simple. This is more getting you accustomed to vocabulary and the structure of how things are going to be going as we move forward in geometry. So some examples are, if this, then that. So if this were to happen, then that would be the result of it, which the first part would be your hypothesis. I'm going to make an assumption that this is the thing we're going to be doing, and then the conclusion would be what happens because of that action. Conditional statements are what an if this, then that are called. So conditional statements, if this were to happen, then that would be the result. The way to break that down is talking about if A, then B. That's going to come in later whenever we start talking about different types of conditional statements. So it's good to know that just the regular conditional statement, the basic, you could think of it as like the parent conditional statement is if A, then B, where A is the hypothesis and B is the conclusion. So just to look at some examples real quick, if Trent studies very little, then he gets poor grades. Okay, so if Trent studies very little, hypothesis, what do we think is going to happen if Trent studies very little? Well, he's not going to get good grades, or he's going to get poor grades, which would be the conclusion. If it's raining outside, hypothesis, then I would need an umbrella. You can see that these are still separated by if and then. So it's still easier to differentiate the A and the B, the hypothesis and the conclusion. If a person grew up in France, if they were to grow up in France, then that person would speak French. Most likely, that would be your hypothesis and conclusion. Based on your hypothesis, it's a logical conclusion. If you live in France, you probably speak French. Take a look at the one that says try it. If a number is greater than 0, then it is positive. Well, yeah, it's a true statement. Well, we know that this first part is going to be the hypothesis. Then it is positive is going to be the conclusion. Very straightforward, more getting you accustomed to the vocabulary.